Just like I did for the Jamaica game, guys, I'm going to give you guys my reaction to the USA's official squad for the Copa America 2024. But before I get into it, make sure to leave a like if you guys think this is the best team that the USA could have picked here. And then if not, let us know in the comments down below why you might disagree with that statement. So let's just get right into it, guys. I'm going to read off the whole squad list for those of you who haven't read yet, from goalkeepers to attackers. So in goal, Ethan Horvath, Sean Johnson, and Matt Turner, only 3 goalkeepers for the squad here. A total of 9 defenders were called up. That includes Cameron Carter-Vickers from Celtic, Christopher Lund from Palermo, Mark McKenzie, Shaq Moore, which I'll talk about later, Tim Ream, Chris Richards, Anthony Robinson, Miles Robinson, and Joe Scally. And then 7 midfielders did get called up by Greg. That includes Tyler Adams, Johnny Cardoso, Luca De La Torre, Weston McKennie, Yunus Musa, Gio Reyna, and Malik Tillman, who I would say is more of an attacker, but he's included here in the midfield. And then for forwards, there's a total of 7 forwards here. That includes Brendan Arison, Folarin Balogun, Ricardo Pepi, Christian Pulisic, Josh Sargent, Tim Weah, and Haji Wright. So my initial thoughts on this official squad roster is it's pretty good. I'm very happy with the players they called up and the players they did not call up. My only issue here is that Gregg Berhalter is going to be the one leading the team, which of course is the issue with, I think, 99.9% of USA fans. But looking at just from the team perspective, it's a very solid team. Definitely a top, I don't know, I'd put definitely top 5 or 6 team in terms of individual player quality in the entire tournament. And this is also a team that's been playing together for a couple of years now, which is good. They already have a World Cup under the general belt of the entire team, which is really nice. So there is a lot of experience going into this tournament against CONCACAF and CONMEBOL teams. So overall, very good. I'm very excited to see how they get set up every single game and whether or not Greg is going to rotate a lot, because I don't think he should. I think there's a set 11, which is a very good set 11. But beyond how the team looks, let's talk a little bit about certain aspects of the team that may cause questions or concerns that I've heard people talk about on social media, and things that came to mind first. First of all is the lack of MLS players, which is huge. If I counted that correctly, there's only 3 MLS players, with one of those being a goalkeeper. So 2 outfield MLS players, and that is hugely important for the US of A. It seems like the USSF is kind of leading away from the whole MLS first narrative. That definitely held the team back a little bit. And then as a result, we didn't grow as much as we would have liked to in the time. But like I said, only 3 MLS players here, which is really huge. And none of these players are probably going to get much game time at all, to be honest. Sean Johnson's definitely a 3rd string keeper. Miles Robinson is definitely like a third or 4th, or honestly 5th, maybe like string center back in the squad. And then Shaq Moore might get the most game time out of all of them, which is kind of funny because he's probably the worst player out of those 3 that I mentioned from the MLS. He's not a bad player. It's just he's definitely the meme of this team going into the tournament, and has been for the past couple years now. So all I'm trying to say is it's very good to see the USSF kind of move away from the whole MLS narrative. It's really refreshing, really nice to see a team that's almost fully European, which is really nice. It definitely speaks to the overall levels of the USA national team and how they're definitely improving over the past couple years, and this should be the gold standard. I mean, if you shouldn't have more than 3 or 4 MLS players in the squad, and even if you do, they shouldn't be mainstays or starters by any means in the first 11. Now, there are some players that I know a lot of people are considering should have been a part of the squad overall, and I'm going to cover some of those players real quick. So number 1 is Austin Trusty. Austin Trusty did get relegated with Sheffield United, but he is a Premier League starter. I mean, next year he'll be a championship starter, but he is a Premier League starter. Wasn't the best center back in the Premier League, of course, but he definitely could have brought some to this team, and I do think he's better than Miles Robinson. So it's unfortunate that he didn't make this team or the Olympic squad, because I do think he should have been at least involved in one of them. Either one would have been okay for him. But he is involved in neither. So Austin Trusty not being here is a little bit of a letdown for me. I would have liked to see him over Miles Robinson. Maybe there's a quota that we don't know about where you have to fill in MLS spots, and Miles Robinson fits that. But even Walker Zimmerman, even I'd put him over Walker Zimmerman, who did make the Olympic squad, as I think one of the only overage players in that squad. So Austin Trusty is a big bummer. I do think he's very overlooked by a lot of the footballing world. So I would have liked to see him here. Unfortunately, that he's not here. Another player that should have been here, in my opinion, and that really needs to be looked at for future camps is Leonard Maloney. Leonard Maloney was a huge player for Heidenheim in the Bundesliga, so I really think he should have been called up. He did get a chance to play with the USA team not that long ago, I'm pretty sure, but he's long been overlooked by this squad, and he should be looked at for the future camps. He does play in the midfield of the pitch, so USA is pretty stacked there, to be honest, but I could have seen him come in over, I don't know, maybe Luca De La Torre, maybe. That's a big if, though. Luca De La Torre is a very solid player, but Leonard Maloney had a really good season in the Bundesliga and has been overlooked once more by the USA, which sucks. He definitely deserves a call-up in the future. A couple other players that did not make this one, very notable, is Alejandro Zendejas and Timothy Tillman. I'm not mad about these 2, to be honest. They have been in the USA camp in years past. Not to say they don't deserve to be here this year, but they're just players that 100% are better than them, that probably deserved more. So unfortunate for both of them, especially Timmy Tillman. I'm an LAFC fan, so I love Timmy Tillman, but it is unfortunate for them that they are not here, or at least on the Olympic squad, maybe, as an overage player. But like I said, I don't know whose spot they would take, and if they did take a spot, they'd be bench players. They wouldn't see much game time, so it's not the most unfortunate thing in the world. For them it is, and I apologize to them for that, but for me, it's not the most upsetting thing in the world. One player to take note of that is here, though, is Josh Sargent. He is hurt, and we don't know how healthy he is right now. I think Gregg Berhalter said he might be ready for the first game, but even then, it'd be limited minutes. So it's interesting he was going to be here because there is rumors that he wasn't going to be called up at all because of his injury. So a good sign to see him here. He might be healthier than we think, and I would like to see him play a lot because I think, in my opinion, he might be a top 1 or 2 talented striker in this squad. He's very, very talented and has honestly been overlooked by a lot of people. But for Norwich City, when he was healthy, he was on track to be a golden boot finisher in the championship. So he's very, very good. I would still start Balogun over him because Balogun, I think he has like 6 goal contributions in his last 10 or 11 games for the USA. So he's a very, very good striker and very, very helpful for the overall attack. But Josh Sargent being the backup to Furlong Balogun instead of Ricardo Pepi would have been my preference. So we'll see what happens there with him, but him being included is very, very interesting. Another player here that we need to take note of is Shaq Moore, obviously. Shaq Moore has been a question mark for years now as to why he's been included in these squads. I don't know what Shaq Moore has on Gregg Berhalter to blackmail him to being put into the squad, but it's got to be something huge because there's no reason that he should be here. The only reason he's here right now is because Serginho Dest is hurt, and if Serginho Dest wasn't hurt, I don't think Shaq Moore should have been in the squad, but honestly, even if Serginho Dest was healthy, Moore would still probably somehow find a way into the squad. Funny enough, he came on against Brazil towards the end of the game, and Vinicius still didn't get anything against him during the game, so not to say Shaq Moore is that great. I don't think he's that good, but I guess it's something there. But even then, we have other players in the midfield, particularly, that have experience at the right back position that I would trust more at right back than Shaq Moore. That includes Timothy Weah, if you kind of want to move the ball up more of in a wing back spot. That includes Weston McKennie. Yunus Musa has experience at right back. So it's a very interesting inclusion by Gregg to have Shaq Moore here. But regardless, he's here. So be it. No point in shaming him too hard now. If he gets game time, as long as he, makes up for anything he didn't do correctly in the past years, especially the World Cup and whatnot, then I'll be okay with it. Who cares? But as a result, Joel Scally pretty much needs to start every single game of this tournament. He locked up Vinicius Jr. It was really, really good performance by Joel Scally in the last game against Brazil. So as a result, Shaq Moore should not see the first minute of the game at all on the pitch. But in general, this squad list is a very, very talented squad list. And some players that I think you guys should watch if they do get some game time would include Mark McKenzie. I really like Mark McKenzie. He's a very, very good center back for Genk in the Belgian league. And I think very, very underrated by many football fans around the world. So definitely keep it on him if he does get any game time. Otherwise, another player I would like to look at is Johnny Cardoso. I freaking love how Johnny Cardoso plays, and he's been very, very solid for Real Betis since he joined. I think it was in winter. Since he joined Betis in winter, he has been a wonderful player for them in the central defensive midfielder spot, to the point where he's being looked at teams like Barcelona, Atletico Madrid. Top end teams are looking at him, and I do think you should keep an eye on him if he does get some game time over Tyler Adams. But that is the question: who's going to be starting more, Tyler Adams or Johnny Cardoso? Gregg is probably going to give it to Tyler Adams, which will be okay. I mean, Tyler Adams is way more experienced with the national team and very successful with the USA men's national team. But I do think Johnny Cardoso should be given at least 1 or 2 games in the group stage, just to see where he's at in response to Tyler Adams, and just to gauge, who's the better player for the knockout stages if the USA were to make it. Another player to watch is Gio Reyna, because this tournament is more important for him that people may realize. Let's be honest, on a club level, Gio Reyna has had a largely unsuccessful career, to the point where he's probably a year or 2 away from needing to move back to the MLS just to play. So if he has a really good tournament for the USA, I think a lot of clubs will then look at him and give him like a second chance, a second opportunity to make a name for himself on the club level before that move back to the States. So there's a lot riding on him here. And I would like to see a good tournament from him because we know he has it in him and he's a very good player for the USA. So keep an eye on Gio Reyna because, like I said, very, very important. But I think that's all I have to cover for you guys for this team and its players. So let me know any comments or concerns you guys have in the comments down below, because we do read every single one of them. Like the video if you do think that this team is the best team that they could have called up, and if they're going to make it out of the group stage, then let us know why in the comments down below, because absolutely I think they're going to make it out of the group stage. And if they don't, Shame on the entire USSF. Otherwise, make sure to subscribe for more Copa America and USA content, because we are one of the best places on YouTube for that kind of stuff for you guys. And otherwise, we'll see you guys in the next coming weeks for way more USA and Mexico and Jamaica and Copa America and Euros content. We'll see you guys then. Take it easy.